this week in particular was my first red week of the year, and it was a very like just interesting week because I noticed that the market was changing from the last week, and even though I knew that, I didn't necessarily adapt, especially Monday and Tuesday, which were my actually Monday was my biggest red day ever, my biggest drawdown ever between these combined days of just $4,000. And even though I knew that the market had changed and adapted, I did not react accordingly to what the market was saying to do. And really, what I really want to talk about for me personally is my Monday and Tuesday trades. Monday, I came into that weekend actually. It kind of started from that weekend where I was coming off, an all-time high, having almost that euphoric feeling of just like, okay, I finally got it. Like, I made 24K in a month, which is great. Like, that's me starting to scratch the surface of what I want to become as a trader, and really start to leave off. And this week really brought me back down to earth in a way of just like, okay, this is real. Like, just when I came in the last week, I said that just because you had one good month, 2 good months, 3 good months of trading doesn't mean anything, because in this game you can lose anything, or you can lose everything just from one bad trade. And Monday really, really grounded and taught me that valuable lesson. The biggest mistakes that I made on Monday was LTNC, and with LTNC, I'm gonna pull up the chart. So I tried dip my LTNC on the first, and the first I thought it was going to be a pretty good dip by opportunity, but in all honesty, it just never bounced. And it was almost like a ticker that I traded last month, which was very similar, which was MMNFF, where I caught myself just doing things where I just shouldn't have been doing. Got very, very undisciplined on Monday. And on Monday, I just was just lackadaisical, not just going through the routine. I wasn't really feeling myself in the zone when I was trading. So that really carried over into having this big losses. Like, the things I was doing on Monday was just not, I was completely out of sync to even be trading. First things first, the reason I took this big loss, it all started with this small scalp win right here. And one thing I really want you to notice is that's the position sizing of this win, or these position sizes for LTNC. I started the day off with 9,000, and normally when I take red trades back to back, that's a key sign to say, hold on, you need to slow down, you're doing something wrong. Then I took a small win on SAP, and then another small win on SAP again. But I was feeling real confident on LTNC, thinking that it would bounce. And notice where I bought at. When I always say, when I want to buy OTC Panic, I wanted to hit my 3 line. And my 3 line would have been LTC at 0.045. So my 3 line would have been approximately 0.0315, which is all the way down here. And notice it kind of started bouncing around this area. It got a little lower. And notice that this never really gave a very clean panic at all. And it was something that I did notice in the moment. And I just ignored it. Like, I just completely was just like, I don't care. I just want to make money, which is just a terrible mindset. And it led to me having that biggest loss that it gave me. But with the loss, it kind of just like I said, put things in great perspective. But it all started with this small win at 0.0357. That small win got me thinking like, okay, I may know how this stock moves. So I bought right around here. You see, even with that 0.57, I was risking 0.035, which was still terrible. The reason I bought it was just because it got under red green, but on these panics, just best just to wait for 30, especially on anything that's sketchy, anything that's not panicking straight down, which this was not at all. So there was no excuse for me to just be trying to scalp. That scalping mentality really just got me in trouble for later on. And then after that, I proceeded to continue to try to dip buy it and continue to just try to dip buy it with even bigger size. You can see I went from 14,000 to 16,000 to 20K. And that just really was just a terrible mindset because I clearly did not have a good read on this stock. Yes, I was able to cut these losses, which with the size that I had, they're good cuts. But then I ran into this. I ran into an 18K position where I'm in at 0.0312, and then I added to a loser at 0.03. And I added to this loser right around here. And right here, I was just like, I got in at 0.01312 right here, actually, right on here, which is again at the top of the line. I'm not a person who likes to buy strength because it just doesn't work for me. But then I added to a loser, and that right there really made me see that yes, there's a big flaw in my trading when it comes to buying these OTC panics dip buys. When a dip buy does not work, I need to cut. I do not need to add to losers because they just make it worse and worse and worse. And yes, this did bounce, but I ended up selling my big position right because I was just so uncomfortable. I ended up selling it at 301. And then I sold another big position, just taking for a huge loss at 0.029, which was almost the bottom of the bounce. So right here. So that just tells me, one, I did my research on this company, and the reason it just did not bounce at all is because they had a whole lot of dilution. So I need to stay away from stocks that do dilutions. Just do not dip buy them. And if I really cannot help myself, follow my rules and buy under the 30 line. Because buying anything under the 30 line when it's a dip buy, I'm just getting myself in trouble, unnecessary trouble. And this whole day was just after this LTNC sequence, I was down about $2,400, and I was cool because I knew that's a part of the game. I just wanted to make money. I wanted to make these losses that I just got back. I wanted to make them back right now. I didn't want to go through that whole drawdown stage of having to size down. I wanted to be able to make them losses right then, right now. And that really affected my other trades going throughout the day because I just could not see anything for the bigger picture or the bigger plan or any type of trend or hold for certain specific gains. I wanted the quick, immediate satisfaction, and that's not trading. That's trading for the money, which is flawed. You're supposed to trade for the game and for your you're just supposed to trade for the game, and I just completely lost sight of that. Even with OPTI, it was still another $10,000 win, and then just to put the cherry on top of things. This is where I knew I really just effed up when I traded ONPH, which I'll go into. Now, OMPH, I had no idea that this was a runner until Monday. This was not on my watch list. This wasn't anything.
Wow.
This was clearly a pump and dump.
I've never seen this one either. Like, this is the first time I'm seeing this one.
I traded because, I'm in the group chat with Jack and they brought it to my attention. And one thing I noticed that, okay, it completely panicked. It dropped all the way down to a low of $12. And I bought this stock not in the beginning of the panic, not even right here, not 18. And I want you to notice the float, because the float is important on these stocks, because that determines like how quickly a stock or the range of the stock that it can move. And me as a dip buyer, I completely should just avoid the complete pumps. Like, these, do not dip buy and stuff like this, because it's just too dangerous, especially when I'm not satisfied with the account that I have, or I haven't built up enough cushion to take these types of trades, because I do not want to take a loss like this. And I ended up buying this stock right here at $20.50, just 500 shares, thinking that it's not going to move that much. It should bounce right here. I saw it kind of like basing right here. And I ended up buying it right at the end of this panic right here. So somewhere right on this edge right here, I bought. And it just started tanking. Immediately started tanking. And I almost froze in a sense, because I was so frustrated from taking the other losses. And I was just like, man, do I really have to take this one? And luckily I did. I didn't wait for it to get to 12, because that could have really, really, really been very detrimental to my account. And I did cut at 18.29, so right under here. But just completely poor risk management, completely just not in the right mindset of just thinking that this thing is going to bounce. I know I can make money from this stock just from, doing whatever. But that just was a terrible mindset, and it led to bad trades and just another $1,000 loss on the day and a 10% loss on the day. And it's something about me. You've been watching just how I trade throughout the weeks. I do not like taking losses that are over 5%. If I'm taking a loss over 5%, that means I'm doing something really, really wrong. Especially with my wins. My wins, I haven't even seen a win this for freaking until Thursday of this week. I didn't even see a win that was over 10%. And that shows that my trading was completely just misconstrued, and I just was not in the zone. I was not in sync of the market. I really had to take a step back and just evaluate the stuff that I was doing. And I'm not gonna lie, taking those big losses, yeah, they hurt. I knew something like this was gonna happen eventually, but just the way that it happened and the way that I traded on this day, and just the lack of just structure behind every single trade and discipline. The discipline was completely gone on March 1st. And that's something that I cannot do going forward. Yeah, and especially when noticing that the market changed. If I notice that the market changed, why am I taking 20K position size? Why am I taking 18K? Why am I killing myself? Just stabbing. Why am I taking 18K position just to make $50? That's terrible. That's completely terrible. Then going into that following day, I still had a red day. Luckily, I did size down a little bit, but it was a more manageable red day. But on this day, it's not tracked into my P&L, But I took an options trade that really screwed me up, and that options trade was it was Tilray, and I think I only lost about I lost about another about about $300 on it, which brought me to another $1,000 loss today. It was just like that's okay, that's my max loss, but it was just like, come on, bro, like you're doing things. Why are you taking that much size in an options trade when you don't even have a system? You have no structure behind what are you doing behind these options to make these money.
What was the dollar
Why
amount?
are you not being?
What was the dollar amount that you took for the option?
It was like $5,000. It was
Ooh.
wild.
Yeah.
I was wild. And you know, options
Yeah.
But but I was tripping. Like
because for
Monday and Tuesday, I completely forgot how to trade. I didn't look. I forgot everything that I learned since I started trading. I was just like, look, I'm trying to make some money. I'm trying to run it up in a day. And that ended up crushing me. But yeah, it was a $300 loss, and I was some calls on Tilray, thinking that Tilray would bounce. And with the market going the way that it did, it was completely flawed plan. Then going into Wednesday, I was really sized down, got back to basics, still not taking big enough wins, with 6% being my biggest win. Then you see another 8% loss, and then a thing that I'm not supposed to dip by, WSGF, on this one. Like, I think I even told Vlad this before the day even started. You're not dipped by WSGF. It's a 1 day run.
Yeah, you told me that.
Like, and why am I doing this? Why am I causing self-inflicted pain on myself? Like, why? Like, it's just unnecessary. I knew this was a 1 day runner. I knew this wasn't gonna have a strong bounce, and I still traded it, and still like just caused a just unnecessary loss. And finally got myself back right on Thursday, where I sized down again, and I started just taking singles, getting back to the basics, taking like $100 risk, and just trying to get in the flow of things. And this Friday, luckily, the market it looked like it bounced and heated a little bit back up, but still not taking big enough winners. And that's something that I really need to work on. Especially the last trade I want to talk about is ENZC on this trade right here, 3-5. This was complete. Yes, I am green on this trade, but this is really frustrating me, because ENZC was such a good setup, and I did not see it. I will say, being in that group message, it does help out a lot, because you get to see how, not only how like Jack trades, but like just the other traders in there, like they really have patience and a structure and plan behind every decision that they make. So on ENZC, you see that it has been beaten up, like it's gotten crushed, gotten all the way down to a low of 22. And my plan behind this was the dead pump bounce. It's been beaten up so much, multiple red days in a row. It's about time for a reversal. And that's exactly what happened. And I got an entry on this stock. I wasn't expecting a big panic, because this thing has just gotten really beat up. But the stars aligned right here, where it kind of double bottomed right here at 22-ish. And you see it bounce. And my entry on this stock was 22.5. I'm in at 22.5. And I really wanted to hold, honestly, to 11 o'clock if I was patient enough and like sell pieces along the way when I got to certain percentages, especially like when I got to 10, sell half or sell three-fourths and just let the rest ride because I knew the potential of this play. But fear really took over me. Like the fear of losing from those other previous days really just broke me down this week. I was scared to lose. And what was I scared to lose? Was I scared to lose $132? Because that's what I was risking at 22. And like I ended up selling this play right here at 23, which in hindsight is just like, this is where I would be adding.
Right.
If I missed this initial dip, why would I sell in a place that I'm adding? Or this is where I'm adding or even getting in and risking off of 22 again.
Right.
Why am I caught why am I just selling myself short? I know better. Why am I not doing better? Why am I not in sync? What's going on with me? And that really just came that I had to really self-reflect in myself after I took this trade and was just like, I'm not following my plans to a T every single time. And luckily, I did notice after I noticed this trade, there was more opportunities throughout that day. But this was the one where it's just like, okay, you are not following your plans. That's the reason you're losing. You're not cutting your losses quick enough, and you're not letting your winners ride. And this was you were right. This was easily over 10%. This is a 20-30% gain if you're very, very patient. And I'm not saying I would have held all day, but I definitely could have made 20, 30, maybe even sell my last sale could have even been at 35 if I'm, just seeing my playing the game instead of worrying about money and profits. And that's just something I'm going into next week going to do. One thing I am going to start doing going forward is just journaling my thoughts before a trade happens and start putting what if statements before the day even happens, for every single trade or every single ticker. I think about trading, I'm going to do what if statements, and I'm going to just journal a trade, journal what I'm thinking, or try to journal what I'm thinking beforehand before I take the trade. And that's pretty much what I have for this week. Still going into this next week. The bright side of things is I'm only down 2.3K, which is still very, very manageable to come back for the month if I do, just get back in the zone and trade well and just stick to what I know and let my winners ride and cut my losses good, have good risk management. In reality, this is only taking away 1 week of work.
All right.
So that is a good thing. That is a blessing. But if I continue to do things like this, I'm not going to be in the game forever. If I continue to get undisciplined and take trades like that. And I want to be here forever. That's the point of me trading. Not to be the richest, not to make necessarily not to, just show off or, show off these massive just P&Ls every single day or go on these crazy swings. I just want to be here forever. I want to have the freedom that trading brings to me forever. But that's all I have to say.
All right, let me share my screen. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. All right, so for the month of March, so I actually ended up green on the week with it, but I'm mainly going to be talking about the same thing. Actually, Tuesday and Tuesday and Thursday. So Tuesday, I lost 2,600. On Thursday, I lost $901.06. Well, yeah, I'm still going to talk about Thursday, but the main lesson really came from Tuesday, and I started off the month. Even going back into Monday, start off the month, I sized down because Friday of March, I gotta change this to Friday of March. Oops. I lost seven grand or whatever. So immediately, I was like, okay, coming into Monday, I'm gonna size down because I lost 7 grand. That's unacceptable. I overtraded. So as you could see, Monday I didn't take that much trade. I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 trades, very small size. But coming into Tuesday, I took too many trades. This is all of Tuesdays right here. And mainly in particular, I want to talk about CWSFF. Now with CWSFF, I start off the day green on it because I took a short position. So it was on the second here. And this was just textbook short. First red day. And in this market, even looking at my stats, first red days is the highest winning percentage pattern for me. OTC first red day. So coming out the gate on Tuesday, I got in short right around here, like at $1. So quickly had a flush back. I saw the stacking on the level 2, so I covered right around like the 90s. So I was up maybe close to like $600 on it. Then we have this bounce. So once we have this bounce, then we started panicking here. So once I saw that it started panicking here, what I did was try to play the bounce. So I tried to play the bounce, and of course, I didn't cut. I was having like, on this particular one with E-Trade, I mean, ultimately it's still my fault, but as soon as I try to cut, like seeing that it's starting to go against, like it's about to reach the low of the day at the point in time, like I'm putting in orders like below the bid, and nothing is being filled. Nothing's being filled. Then all of a sudden, where I put my order at, that's when they as they start walking it down, that's where my orders start getting filled at. So I got filled somewhere like below here on the panic. So I was like, okay, wait for the next green candle. So I waited for the next green candle, got in again right around here. So I chased it. I chased it a lot. I think I got in like in the 80s, and the low of the day was like 76. And I was like, okay, just play low of the day and and just cut if it get there. So I got in here, it started dipping. Instead of just saying what I was going to do, just playing low of the day, I end up cutting like right here. Then immediately have this big candle. Then I went back in right around here. Then eventually, once I saw that this area got breached again, I end up cutting for a loss. So I traded this a total of, I think, 3 or 4 times. Then I try to rebuy the dip here. Now I got a good entry right here at 73 cents. And just looking at my stats on it, like 25,000 shares, 25,000 shares, 30,000 shares. So in this particular, the last part, you know, and I said the same thing, because this could have literally worked out, because my target, I was looking to try to sell it right around here at 86 cents. Reason why 86 cents, because that's the previous support before it had the crack. So really right around here, 86. So I got in here and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna let this thing work. So it started going, and as soon as it like cracked below my entry, I just cut it. But had I just, you know, said what I was gonna do, just cut it, like if it breached the level, I would have got all of this and I would have made back everything that I lost, because I had 30,000 shares. This would have been like a 3,300, little over $3,300 dollars, because at the time this was like one of my last trades of the day, and I was down like $2,000. So I would have finished up the day with $1,000, you know, of profit. But one thing that I'm noticing about these bounces, they're not clear cut. Some of them are not clear cut, you know, like it just like how we had last month, that you just have a panic and next thing you know, it just starts bouncing. Like we're not seeing that. So with some of these bounces, you definitely got to be a little bit more patient with it. So just showing you guys some of my stats for the month of March. So I took one ascending triangle play. You know, I felt at it. It was working, but I was in the mindset of P&L. You know, I was up. I think I was up like maybe $400 or $500 on it. But I was like, nah, I think this could go higher. Maybe we could get 60 cents on it. I had 3,000 shares on that play, and whatever happened, it just crapped, and you know, I end up losing. OTC dip buys, I'm 33% at it. Been doing a lot of no pattern plays, so I definitely got to get this cut down, because I'm just doing random stuff in the market, you know, thinking that it's gonna work. But you know, this is definitely not the market to be trying to just do random stuff in, because for the last couple of days, you know, we've just been having a downtrend. And one thing that me and Rocky noticed is that the QQQ, like that moves well with OTC. You know, never would have thought that. But the way that it's moving, you know, as that's going down, OTC starts to go down. So that was one of the loss. Then I also have TSNPD. TSNPD. Now this one was, like I said, it's just horrible on how I try to get executed, and I couldn't get executed. So for this one, this was also with E-Trade. I got in at 486. And again, on some of these dip buys, I need to probably be careful of. The part that I think I mess up a lot on is like when I see the first green candle, a lot of time I try to get in at all means possible, like any means possible. So I'm chasing it, thinking that, okay, this is like last month. You could chase a little bit and it's just going to keep going. This ain't the market for that. You know, you can't really chase it. And even at this time, I didn't realize that the QQQ or whatever was affecting penny stock, and I think at the time it just kept tanking. So with this, I tried to. Now I noticed the bounce was the low was 470. I end up getting in at like 486, so that's 16 cents. I actually got in at the top, or 1 cent away from the top. And this is one thing that I'm looking at as well too. I know I think Kyle mentioned this. He did the same trade. Like, he tried to get in right here, but once he saw that this red candle just flushed down, that he immediately got out. For me, I was trying to get out at the 480, and when I saw that I wasn't getting filled, because literally it was maybe like 30, probably a minute, 30 seconds to a minute, I saw that I wasn't getting filled. What I should have probably just did, cancel that order and put it even lower, because there's no way that this start flushing down and I'm getting filled over here in the 50s. That's 30 cents of downside. So I end up getting filled here, ultimately making me miss the bounce because I'm so frustrated that it didn't work here. And not the and the second thing about it too, like, is how close VWAP was. This was only 10 cents. 10 cents away from VWAP. So that I also have to be mindful of. Even though that's doing the bounce, if it's so close, this is the new rule that I'm going to implement myself. And that's one thing that I like about whenever you're trading, you're tracking your trades. You have the option to be able to pivot for the next week. So what's working, what's not working. Like, when you're putting in all the data in your spreadsheet, you're able to, like I said, you're able to pivot, because if you're waiting to the end of the month just to put everything in, you don't really know what's going on in the moment, because there's so many tickers, so many plays that's happening, and you could get it jumbled up in your mind. So one thing that I'm gonna implement for next week, if the ticker is next to, like, close to VWAP like this, I would only get in if it makes a higher low above VWAP. Because if it makes a higher low above VWAP, that's a little bit more confirmation that this may continue. Because all this was just the first bounce, right to VWAP, but rejection. Then, of course, on this play, it had the bounce, then the second candle, it wasn't like an engulfing candle. Like, this right here was almost a engulfing candle, like just taking away all the bounce. So that's bearish. This right here is more bullish. I know some people play like the 3 candle play. This is the igniting candle, the consolidation, and the confirmation here on the candle. So that was, a pattern in itself. But yeah, for this, it messed up my mind. Like, once I was getting filled like down here, then the bounce happened. I really missed the bounce, because with the size that I normally go into it, this way. With the size that I normally go into it, like, getting a good, 10, 20 cents, 30 cents, that's a good profit. Because this bounce from the 50s, it eventually went to 504. That's 50 cents. 50 cents upside. So definitely last week wasn't my best week as far as execution wise, due to the plays that I missed out on, the plays that I didn't execute on. And again, I had the same issue on this day, on TSNDP on the 4th. That time it was me just being over patient, thinking that, I'm gonna let it work. But I traded this like it says 12,000 shares, but I traded it twice. So the total that I ended up losing was 1,014. Um, I think there's one other. Not really. Those were really just the two main ones. But on the highlight note, um, TSNDP, I did trade that yesterday, and the reason behind it was this was just having like, I had three red days, and I love these setups like this. Because I'm starting to see them happen. I saw them happen last month, and I'm glad that I was able to recognize. And and I think that's the importance of screen time as well too, because you pick up on things that otherwise, if you wasn't in front of the screen all the time, you probably wouldn't notice. But I did notice, like beginning of last month in February, like you'll have these massive run, then you'll have like the three red days. Then on the fourth day, after the three red day, you have a spike. So with this, I saw it started panicking because I thought out the gate it was gonna automatically just start running, but that wasn't the case. So it started panicking. Then all of a sudden, I see like big volume come in on the chart or whatever. So I was like, okay, it looks promising. Then after I saw the big volume, there was like stacking action at 279. So it was like massive buyers. So I immediately just went to the ask and bought 6,000 shares at 480, which, the confirmation was the stacking on the level 2 had big volume, and plus 475, I'm risking 5 cents essentially. So it was good risk reward, and there were so many other factors I was going into it. This is the fourth. There's the fourth. At the time it was red, but it was like the fourth red day, plus a panic in the morning with stacking and a reversal. There was so many bullish factors, in my opinion, that was saying, okay, this is gonna go higher. So I held
same
it.
as ENZC.
Right. And when you showed that chart, I was like, wow, ENZC did the same thing. But the only thing that this was clean, like a clean bounce. The only thing that I messed up on was just selling. I was just so excited because, like I said, throughout the week I was red, and I'm starting to see I'm up like 1,000. I'm like, yo, I need this, I need this to help out my week. But had I just been thinking more clearly outside the P&L, I probably would have got out right here, because my main thing is normally on bounces, I want to see the first red candle. The first red candle on the 1 minute, that's the sign for me to get out. Unless if it's like super close, but like after it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, green candles, if it showed me one red one, then I'm gonna get out. But instead, I was just selling in parts. I think I sold my first. I sold half at 290. So I had 6,000 shares. So I had 3,000 shares left. Then as it started going up, I was selling. Then I was like, nah, I don't think it's gonna get above red green. So I just sold the rest right here. That was, like I said, had I just waited just for the first red candle and just not think about P&L, I would have been good, because from 280 to probably would have gotten out right here. Let's say 322. That's what, 40 cents, a little over 40 cents. With 6,000 shares, I mean, that's a good profit. So I left a lot of money on the table on this one. But eventually, at the end of the day, it ended up going to like 350. I definitely wouldn't have been around for any of these right here. But it just shows you, like, trading, it really is mental. because a lot of the things that we do when we're in the trade, it comes down to our mentality. Like, I'm gonna try not to bring in, yesterday's trade into the equation, or even the last trade into the equation. I know Nate normally says this. He's like, on to the next. And that's really the mindset that I think going forward, I really need to just focus on. Like, whatever just happened with the last trade, that's gone. So in this new trade, make sure I'm clear headed to be able to execute, because otherwise, I'm just still chopping myself, even though it's a game, I'm still chopping myself off at the knees when it could have been, a lot better. Because I end up making on this trade 1.1 K on it, which is good, but at the same time, I didn't give the trade the full potential that it needed. And I did take an option trade as well too, on Riot. And I think I'm gonna start doing more trades like this, but probably more in the parabolic stage, because the first red day, like literally, this is when I should have just been taking the first option trade.
That's super predictable. I'm gonna start doing the same thing.
Yeah, because I end up taking the option trade on this day. No, on this day right here. And I end up making close to $2,000 off of this little wash right here. So imagine if I start taking it here, and I believe this how those other traders be having like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in profit.
That is that make your year.
Yeah. And Riot, then you have Telray. Like, these are the trades. Like, if a NASDAQ stock goes parabolic and shows the first red day, and you have GameStop as well too. Like all of this would, like, you would just need, like I said, just one. But these were happening. Yeah, like these are happening on a frequent basis, where you just get a out of the money option, because this is like it's parabolic 483. Even if you got it in at the 390 and this joint dropped all the way back down to 40 something, this is just predictable, and we see it all the time. So I think I'm gonna start capitalizing on it, and just not be shooken out. Because as long as it's like, if you do give the option like months in advance, as far as where you're getting in at, or even weeks in advance, like 4 weeks in advance, then you can make pretty good. Because this trade here, I only put, with this option, with this particular one, I only put, I think, 1,100 in, and I made 1,900. The other one, I'm still in, I put $678 in. At one point I was up 1,700 on that one, but it did rebound, so my unrealized right now is like 600 or something. But that's still good. That's that's close to 100% on a small amount. If I get YOLO like Rocky, put $5,000 in, I would have been set. But
man, I don't know what was wrong with me. I was just like, man, I know what's gonna happen, and it did not happen at all.
But that's pretty much what we have today. Hopefully this was helpful. Definitely be safe out there, guys, in the markets. Because it's still uncertain. Even though it bounced, Monday could have another sell-off. So just be careful. Stick to your plan. May you want to size now. All right, guys.